Hey, how's it going? My name is Juan.
Juan is the man.
I've worked with Deftones for the last 20 years.
You may have heard of him.
I've worked with Marilyn Manson and Tool.
And Wilson Phillips.
And and Collective Soul from Atlanta.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did their meet and greets for a while.
We're just going to start the interview now.
And you're watching Good Company with Scott Bowling.
Oh, yeah. Hey guys, my name is Scott Bowling, and today we're with the man, Mr. Juan Gonzalez.
Hello.
Hello. Juan, I cannot believe you're here. I'm kind of talking to you in the camera. Years ago, me and my buddy Carl, we would go see Deftones all the time.
Yeah.
And you were always there, kind of lingering around, working.
Standing, smoking.
Yeah. And we became friends with you, which you don't even remember probably, and we would have all our Deftones stuff. Like I remember having the skate deck shirts. We'd get there early in the morning, like 10 or 11. And you were the guy, man, that would walk around, and you were like the connection between us and the band. And this was back in 2005 or something when I first met you.
I'm trying to remember the Tabernacle. Like there's been many times, and me and Chino would talk about this because we'd come out and there was always one person. I don't think it was you guys. I'm not sure.
There
was always somebody out there going, "Hey, Chino! I!" Like, you know, that we were. I don't think it was you guys, but we just always remember that because, like, you know, just very, "Hey, Chino!"
Oh yeah.
I guess I am kind of morphing it, but
that was definitely me doing that. By the way.
But it was just
What did Chino say like when somebody's yelling that?
No, he was just all, man, I could hear somebody just yelling at it. Hey, Chino!
Did you guys have, like, you know, you're on the road with them so long. Did you have every day, were there people like me and Carl that showed up early?
Well, yeah. I mean, by the time I started with them.
What year did you start with them?
I started White Pony.
White Pony.
The day White Pony came out was my first night with them as an employee.
Wow, how stoked were you, man?
I was pretty damn stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you a big fan before White Pony?
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, I was because I was happy for my friends coming up, but I wasn't very familiar. I met Steph in high school. So we got kicked out of a couple of classes together, being clowns. Not being, we weren't mean. We were just clowns. And
you met Steph in high school?
In high school. And so we were in a class together, and we would get kicked out for stupid shit. I mean, like, the most dumb, like, the teacher told me, you open your mouth one more time, and I just opened my mouth. And he's like, get out. And Steph would get thrown out too. And then he had went to another school. And when I ran into him again, it was after he had been hit by a car, and he had the musical equipment.
Oh, yes,
starting to play, which you may be familiar with that part of it.
Yeah, that's how the band kind of connected. Like, he has the equipment, so we can...
And I remember a couple of mutual friends telling me, hey, you know Steph. And I was like, oh, yeah. And this is how I remember it. They're like, well, he thinks, he can play guitar better than you. I was like, what? So I got my little amp and we went over to his house to play.
So you play guitar?
I do.
This is awesome, man.
Yeah, I do.
You still play?
I do. I actually started back up. I would never have said that I was a player until now. I feel like I'm trying.
So you guys kind of had this little competitive thing about who's better?
Well, yeah, I was just stupid, 17-year-old. Well, he said what?
Yeah.
And I went over there and we just, he was so funny. That's the one thing about Steph. He's like one of the only dudes that could make me laugh. And so I just always liked him.
Yeah.
And then we went over there, we played a little bit. We were terrible. We wouldn't even tune to each other, kind of. We're just like, I'm over here tuning, he's over there tuning. And, but it was fun.
That's hilarious.
We had a small garage thing going, me, him, and a couple other cats. And then, that kind of just fell apart. But I still hung around. I remember a young Chino coming in there and jumping on there. And I believe they played Twist of Cain. Steph just started playing the riff. Yeah. And then Chino
Twist of Cain,
grabbed the mic.
Danzig.
Yeah.
That's
grabbed the mic and ripped
song.
off, not ripped off, but ripped out a perfect rendition of Danzig,
Who sang?
Chino.
Chino sang Twist of Cain.
Yeah. He sounded,
Dude,
to me, sounded
so
like Danzig, And I just remember, he was maybe 14, 15.
So he's younger than everybody.
He was younger than us, yeah. So we were, a few years older. So he might have even been younger. But He had creepers on, a pompadour, you know. I didn't know because I didn't know what Dave Gahan looked like, but basically he looked like Dave Gahan.
Yeah.
Because I had no clue about Depeche Mode back then or any of that stuff. But I saw.
But he was big on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Did he bring that influence to you guys, like you and Steph?
Well, I think Steph was already, you know. I think, you know, I don't really know. I know the stuff we listened to was all heavy stuff. I would, you know, I was very closed-minded. I wouldn't listen to anything that wasn't heavy, or, you know, it had to be heavy. It had to be super fast, or, you know, or I would, you know.
Are you still that way to this day, or is it?
No, I mean, I obviously grew up, you know. You can't.
You got any guilty pleasures going, man? Like, what's
Well, just guitar playing right now is really because I mean, I just spoiled myself and just started like, you know, bought like top line stuff and just forced myself like, dude, now that I bought this, I better learn how to play, you know.
So Chino was singing, and what happened after that? I mean, obviously they did Adrenaline and all that.
Yeah, I mean, well, honestly, I was out with their first show, I believe their first backyard show, and then.
Did people like record any of this? Like, is there footage?
You know, I'm not sure if they have any of that footage. If there is, I remember going to a party at Chino's house where they played, and like, you know, Chino lived in a pretty rough neighborhood.
Oh, did he?
And everybody that showed up to the show was not from that rough neighborhood. So as soon as people got sent that there was people from out of the neighborhood in there, you know, they started coming around, and next thing you know, people were getting hit and this and that. Yeah, it was a little weird. And I just remember, you know, I was like, I felt bad for him, but it was like, you know, he just invites his friends, and then the neighborhood just kind of turned on him.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
I mean, I laughed, but it wasn't like nobody got hurt, really. You know, it was just fun.
So you guys were like pretty good friends and everything, and they basically have Madonna come in and sign them.
Yeah, you know, honestly, man, I can't. I mean, I know the stories, but I would know them as much as somebody else would.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't.
Well, did you lose contact with them after they
did.
Okay, so how many years go by before you know? Because White Pony is a few albums later.
Yeah. I remember. Okay, so the first show, and then I kind of lost track, and then I actually. I don't even. I probably shouldn't say it, but I actually tried out for him one time just to play second guitar with them. This is like '91 or something. It was doomed. You know,
I love all the songs they had back in the day, like Christmas and
that's what Chi was in the band, and Abe was not in the band at the time.
Who was the original drummer, by the way?
No, it was either I believe it was Abe or Dominic. Dominic might have played bass.
No, the original drummer
of
Deftones. There was another guy in Deftones.
Yeah, Dominic.
Dominic. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Dominic Garcia, and it was him and Abe playing drums, and Dominic was on bass.
Okay, I didn't
and then
know
I believe when Abe went
wild.
to Fallacy, Dominic switched to. I don't know. It was one or the other. I don't remember, but he was a very talented.
That's so
musician.
long ago too. It's hard to remember. That's decades and decades.
And
ago.
so, anyways, they're doing okay, I guess. You know, they're starting to do their thing, and I got off on my way.
Were you working for other bands when you got?
No, I was nowhere. I mean, the reason I'm in the music business is because of Deftones.
Because of them. So okay, how did you reconnect? So they did Around the Fur.
Yep, I saw them in Sacramento, Around the Fur with Quicksand.
Oh, yes.
They finished the tour in Sacramento. And so, I went and saw that, and I was just like, just right before that, though, right before Adrenaline came out, I saw them play at this skate park in Sacramento, and there was like 1,100 people there. And it was like, going from a backyard party to 1,100 people. And these were kids that I had no clue who they were. So we're talking about a whole new, generation of music fans coming up. Like, for instance, you, Carl, you know, that age group.
Absolutely.
We're older, so, we think we're cool. But these kids came up seeing them, and they're just like, oh, these guys are, the best thing ever. So I didn't really see it until I saw that show, and then I saw Dio. And there was a band opening for Dio that looked and sounded just like Deftones. You know what I mean? They were wearing the same kind of stuff. And I was like,
Dio, yeah.
Yeah, and I was all like, they're on to something if these bands are copping them. If bands are starting to bite your style, that's kind of a big
they
deal.
Like started all that,
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal,
Yeah.
So anyways, they do that. And then, like I said, lose touch because they're on the road all the time. Mm-hmm. So I would go by Steph's mom's house every now and then and just say hi, just see if he's around. You never knew. There was no cell phones or anything like that.
Yeah. You didn't page him on a pager or something.
Eventually, yeah. So, then, finally that show ends. They start riding White Pony, I believe, in Sacramento. And I see Steph riding his bike in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I, say, hey man, we hang out. Anyways, we hang out. I see Chino a few hours later, and then they invite me out to the rehearsal spot where they're writing, working on the record. And I was working at night, so I'd get off, go there, hang out all night, stay there until whenever Steph was ready to leave. I'd take him home, and then come back and do it the next night.
Wow.
It was pretty intense. It was eye opening, man. Because they were like they'd already toured and they'd been through a lot. So they were like they're pretty fucking harsh too, man. I don't know if you've ever spent time around each other, but the way we talk to each other, can be pretty rough. And I just when I first came
it's like
in,
brothers, right? It's like this love that
just
love hate
bashing each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I had to deal. I had not deal, but I had to there's times I'd be sitting in there and just like putting the magazine up over my face,
just arguing and that's what
man. This is intense.
Really,
but it's the creative process, I guess. But then they started the record and it was a pretty long process. But somewhere along the way they're like, hey, you want to come out and work for us? When this is done, we go back on tour. I was like, well, of course,
Yeah.
like, let me think about this, dude. I go back to the warehouse or go on tour.
What'd you do when you go on tour with them? Like, what's the first thing they want you to do? I mean, are you guitar teching or like?
No, I've done that for them before.
Yeah.
And I was Chi's bass tech for about a year and a half.
Oh my gosh!
I do want to apologize to you for Chi. He was not. He was a good sport.
Let me hear some of these stories. So you would tune for like you've never done it before, so
yeah, that was I had done it just prior to that. I had gotten a gig to go out with Fear Factory. Who was getting back together. My friend played guitar for them, so he asked me if I'd come out and be his tech, and I told him, well, I'm not a guitar tech. And he's like, I like you, so I'll show you what you need to do. Just come. And I was like, all right.
It's hard to say no to that.
Yeah, they were opening for Slipknot.
God,
so my first show as a tech is in front of 3,000 people.
Oh,
just
jeez.
I was bad. I'm not gonna lie, I was not good.
That's so cool, man.
But and Chino had to be stuck with me for a while too.
Did he?
That was rough.
I want to hear all these stories, man. Hey, so when you first started, what was your thing, man? Like when they say go on the road with us, we got White Pony.
Yeah, I was gonna be their band assistant. Chino's brother had been an assistant prior.
Chino's brother.
Yeah,
who is that, by the way?
His brother Julian, I believe.
Julian.
Yeah,
That's
his younger brother. And
cool.
I don't, for whatever reasons, that didn't work out. And they were like, all right, well, we're going to keep this position and we'll bring, I guess Juan's going to do it. And so like when Ozfest 99, they were like, why don't you come out for the last week and see if you like it, And of course I'm going to love it, and see, if this is what you want to do, and then we'll work it out. And so I went out and it was great. And I couldn't think of doing anything more,
And plus, the Ozfest got to be different from their average tour, right? I mean, that's a whole
I'd never done like a festival like that or.
So you guys, you do that tour, and you stay with them, and as assistant, does that mean like you got to run out and get anything? Is that kind of a general term?
Do whatever's asked of you,
Is that? I mean, that's a long hours. I mean, is that all day?
It can be. I mean, you have to remember too. It's not just one. It's 5 people, so it's a little long. It can be a little long. You want to make everybody happy, and that's almost impossible. So you're kind of stuck with that. Trying to work out of.
That's a labor of love because how do you not get burned out? I mean, just every day, these.
You do, but a lot of it is because of the treatment I get. They're good to me. They're my friends as well, which is difficult as well because to come in as friend of band, that's why when people ask me, what do you do? Oh, I'm FOB, the FOH is that front of house. I'm FOB, I'm friend of band, like the worst, everybody hates that, the tour managers hate that guy. Nobody wants to hear what their buddy has to say, but guess what? You do.
After White Pony comes out, I mean, that album explodes. It's amazing. Is this where you get other job opportunities to go?
Eventually, I didn't help myself out very much in the beginning because I was 29 years old, and all I ever wanted to do is, be a rock star or whatever, And eventually, I get to work in the business, and it was. I forget the question.
No. I'm saying, after White Pony, a few years later they did self-titled.
Oh yeah. I just I was, put it this way, with your friend of band, and you got. I've been told to fuck off by the best tour managers in the world. Some of the best in the world have told me to go to hell.
Oh, wow.
No, that's a joke, but
I'm like, no way. Let's talk about it. What did they say?
No. But you know, I didn't help myself out. I was getting high with the band. I was hanging out. You know, I was living the life. You know, that's what they kind of wanted me to do. You know,
How awesome a job is that? Hey, we just want you to hang out with us and
pretty
you know,
good.
party.
But you know, you have to. You can't really. You can't make it on that. You know, you can for a bit, but I'd still wanted to do my job. There's one story in particular, like we were early in my career, we were in Florida. Steph was hanging out with Be Real and, you know, like, I could care less, but Fred Durst. Be Real is like an idol to me. You know, that's like
I
one
grew
of
up
my,
on it.
But, you know, so we're in a hotel,
Fred
we're
Durst is
hanging out.
too?
Yeah, it was like they were doing like a Limp Bizkit, Cypress Hill tour, and they happened to be in the same city. So anyways, I go there with Steph. We have a gig that day, right? So I'm hanging out with them and getting high. You know, I show back up to the gig and it's like 4 o'clock. You know, it's like not good.
Yeah.
Things were not good that day. You know, I did not perform my job very well that day. So, you know, that was one of the first lessons. And I remember Abe telling me, he's like, you know, we're wearing a skirt. You know, you're wearing a skirt because I skirted the issue. You know? Because I didn't, you know, I didn't handle business. You know what I mean? It's like, and it was early in my career, so they were just like giving me, you know.
I like that. Wearing a skirt.
You skirted the issue, man. Instead of, you know, and I realized it. You know, I was like, I was kind of starstruck hanging out. And you don't want to be like that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You want to be professional. And you learn to do that eventually. You know, I was partying. It was a lot of fun, man.
You're still young too, man. I mean, you're 20-something on the best job ever in your life. You probably handled it better than I would or most people.
Well, I mean, being 29 probably helped, you know, because I've thought about that. If I had started when I was 18, I don't know if I'd have made it to the 20s, you know, from the way it went, you know. But it's a lot of fun, man. I can't complain.
So after this, you hooked up with the different bands like Fear Factory.
Yeah. Eventually, I started to.
How did you hook up with Fear Factory? I love Fear Factory.
Yeah, well, Christian called me after they had reformed and said, "Hey, I want you to come out and be my guitar tech." You know, and again, like I said, I didn't know anything about it really, but he was all like, "Well, you played before," and you know, he's all like, "I like you. I'll show you what to do." And it was pretty awesome.
What's the dynamic? How is it partying or not partying, working with Fear Factory?
Well, I was a huge fan of Fear Factory. I mean, obviously the Dino era, you know, the riffs that he wrote, but I was just a huge fan. You know, that tour that we did one tour where Strapping Young Lad played, so I got to watch, you know, Gene Hoglan play drums like while I'm tuning my guitars just right there, and then the next, you know, is Raymond playing, you know, it's like just blasting away.
It sounds like a machine. Yeah,
it's pretty, it was more than a job. You know what I mean? It's like, and then with Fear Factory, we were doing festivals with like all the bands I loved.
Yeah.
You know, like the death metal bands and all the festivals that I had heard of growing up as a young metal fan. Roskilde, not Roskilde, but like the metal ones, you know. Fear Factory played all those when we went to Europe, and it was pretty cool. Or kicking back, hanging out with Dying Fetus and stuff, you know.
Oh, dude.
It was just, you know, for me, that was what it was about. Like, you know, when I first started, you know, I was hanging out with like Limp Bizkit, Blink 182, people like that. It didn't matter to me because I wasn't a fan of their music. I respected them, but I wasn't starstruck by any of that, you know. But, you know, I got to meet like Rob Halford. That was pretty awesome.
That's tight.
Yeah. And just, you know, overall, just everything, man.
Do you enjoy like being on the road? I know a lot of people like it. A lot of people, you know, don't like it, love it, hate it, or whatever. Do you get used to it? I mean, is it?
You do. I mean, you don't. Anybody who has a family at home, and you have to balance that, you know, obviously, because it's not fair to them to be gone all the time. So.
And you were doing like when you know, we got to talk about when I first met you, but this was before like Facebook and MySpace and all that stuff, before social media.
Yeah.
Was it, how hard was it for you to connect back home with family? I mean, is this
well,
like
actually, for me, it was a lot easier. The stories that I hear from the guys, you know, when they started touring in 94, 95, you know, they could go almost a month without calling home if you know, if you chose to. But by the time I was traveling with them, there was a cell phone already, and there were calling cards that I would use in Europe and stuff.
Yes, dude, that's so old school.
There's still a lot of payphones and things like that. But I can imagine though, prior to 2000, touring would have been pretty. You know, you kind of could have got away with a lot more stuff. It wasn't on film.
Were you, this is kind of a random question, but I remember going to see Metallica at the Atlanta Braves Stadium. It was like Metallica, Deftones, Linkin Park, Mudvayne, and all those guys. Were you there at that show?
Yeah, I was on that one, yep.
How hard is it to work on a baseball field?
Well, I mean, they built a huge stage. Everything was pretty easy. It wasn't our production, so that was easy.
Oh, is it? Yeah. So it's not your production? Yeah,
no, it was Metallica was doing all that. So.
Did you get to hang out with those guys?
Yeah, they come around. They came around quite a bit.
And that's right when James was getting sober and everything. Did you ever meet him?
Yeah, James a few times. Yeah, one of my very first picture with the celebrity, I guess. No, actually, it's Jeff Hanneman. But from
wow.
Slayer. But the first show I worked for Deftones, they did right before White Pony came out. Mm-hmm. They played at in Petaluma, and I kind of helped out. I wasn't really an employee yet, but I was gonna be. Mm-hmm. So I stood in the pit, kind of helped out in the barricade. And after the show, I was like poured sweat down to here, and Hetfield's there, and I was like, "Hey, man, can I get a picture?" And somebody had to snap it with a portable or a disposable camera.
Do you still have it?
I do. I'll send you a picture.
Please do, man. Yeah, I would.
I'm just like sweat stain down to here, and I'm like holding the beer and the smoke, and Hetfield's kind of like he was this jerk.
So I got some random stuff here. This right here, Prick, we have right behind you, everything. My favorite, we were in Atlanta. I had a guitar sign in Atlanta. We were traveling, went to Atlanta, North Carolina, South Carolina. Anyway, in Atlanta, I should tag these people that made this magazine, but Prick was there, just random magazine crew or whatever. They're going to interview the band. And me and Carl have been sitting out there for hours, probably sweating. And these guys come in there and they're like, they basically come in and do an interview right away. We're so jealous. I think these guys, and they just look like just normal dudes. Like, we're going to interview the band. You kept saying, Prick, look at these pricks. And you kept yelling that out. We thought that was so funny because we were already jealous of these guys because they got to meet the band. And we're like, can you sign my shirt? Like anything. We're diehard fans. And so we found, this is one of the original magazines. I actually kept it just because of that memory. And you walked out there and made fun of them and came to us and got us our stuff signed. And we're like, dude, he's so cool, man.
Man, it was such a crazy time, though. I was so happy to just be there. Like I remember meeting the Hatebreed guys because, they were playing in Boston.
Oh, I love the Hatebreed guys. I love Josh Sayes. That's so awesome.
And nobody could get tickets. It didn't matter who you were at that point. It was like sold out to the, like they were already shoving way more people than they should in there. So I remember meeting Jamie and them outside, and they were like, what I would do in that situation, I would tell them, hey man, I'm one of the band, work with this band or whatever. We would like to come see the show. So they tell me that, and they're, I got them in, and
that's so nice.
I was just like, hey, Brady, I've heard you guys. It was
so cool.
It was a cool thing to be able to do for people. Like the 10 Years guys, I met them when they were a demo band. And they had given me their demo or something.
Oh yeah, I remember 10 Years. Yeah.
And then I believe I took one of the members or someone to meet Chi and hang out and say hi, and they were like super stoked about that. And like when I saw them and they were signed and stuff,
dude.
Like
I'm gonna talk about myself again. Sorry.
It's all right.
It's
your show.
Yeah, thank you, man. I took Stephen Carpenter's guitar, the SC200 series. Mm-hmm. And I got Carl one too. And I walked around, in Atlanta, I got the whole band to sign it, including Chi, which I had a conversation with, amazing. But except for Stephen Carpenter to sign it, or Stephen Carpenter. So the next day, I cannot get him, we went to a North Carolina show and the barricades was weird. We just could not get to the band. And I'm walking around, I'm committed. Yeah. Like 2 in the afternoon, I got this guitar, not a case, just a guitar in my hands. I see you from a distance. Oh, you remember me? And you came over to me, and I was like, dude, I got the whole band to sign it except Steph, and this is his guitar. Like, it's got to be complete. And you're like, don't worry, buddy. Let me see that. You take it over there, and we saw Steph over there. You walk right up to him, and then he signed it.
Hey, sign this fucking thing.
Dude, it meant the world to me. You brought it back. I was only 24, 25 years old, and I was just like, and now it's framed. It's the first thing I've had framed in my museum that's been called.
Things like that are awesome, and things like that are awesome. But then, at the same time, there could be somebody that tells a story. You know what, man? I came up to you and you told me to get fucked.
Yeah.
No, maybe not.
But you know what?
But maybe I wasn't as nice as that. You know what I mean?
Well, it made the world to me, man. So I'm glad you were nice to me because to
this
day we talk about you.
Yeah, I try to be. Honestly, I think it's served me well, and it actually helped to get me into the Deftones camp is because when we were hanging out, they were just like, we were just constantly telling each other, it's like, man, nothing's changed here. You know, like we are the same. We feel like we're the same people that we were prior to all this, you know. So
wow, yeah,
it was
that's
interesting,
huge.
and so that was, and I think that was good for me as well because they were like, oh, you're still into music, you love, you know. My thing as a kid was turning people on to music and trying to share, you know, things I liked, and we'd all like, you know, like we'd all listen to it together, and that was my goal is to, you know, spread cheer through music, you know.
Dude, you spread a lot of cheer. And can I ask you something that's weird is like I remember when we were getting stuff signed, I remember one guy walking by Chino that worked with you guys with the band. I have no idea who this guy is. But I remember overhearing him tell Chino, he's like, whatever they get signed, you know, it's going to be on eBay in 5 minutes. And that could be true, but for me and Carl, I got so mad. I was like, no, it's not.
Well, I guarantee it's not. It's
I was
right
like,
there,
this is going on my wall. Like, it really was. Like, I mean, I had all my stuff. It was so personal. But
yeah, that's how, you know, when I worked with Manson, it was like that. You know, we'd pull into a hotel and somehow everybody knew we were there. You know, so there would be people waiting to get certain things signed.
And people do that.
And
too.
it was eBay for him most of the stuff. I mean, obviously he has fans that want their stuff signed, but I saw the network of people that were, you know.
Yeah,
and at the same time, man, I've seen like I don't want, you know, speak for anybody, but I saw John 5 signing fucking everything. Yeah, he was just like, you know what? He knew exactly what that guy was doing with it. He didn't give a shit. You know, it's like.
Is there like, this may be a dumb question, but is there a certain type of person you can tell? Can you see somebody and be like, they're not really fans, they're just like, is there a certain like?
There is, but I mean, at the same time, like if you're, you know, if it's going to end up to a fan, maybe that's okay.
Maybe a fan's going to buy it, you know.
But I mean, I've also seen like we had a show in Russia, and when the show at the merch table, they were selling autographs from the band, which they didn't sign.
Oh,
you know,
really?
I've seen all these people come out with these like Deftones things signed. I'm all like, man, we didn't sign anything. But hey, man, I hope you made a few rubles on it, man.
Yeah, I have this Nevermind album. And I bought it in Vegas, and I have pictures of the guy that signed it. Anyway, long story short, the whole band Nirvana signed it. I had Brian Welch from Korn over here. He was obsessed with this. Like I'm trying to talk to him, and he's like, wait a minute. And he's taking pictures of the Kurt Cobain autograph and Googling the pictures.
To see if it's legit.
He's like, I think it's legit. But
Yeah, I can imagine, man.
yeah, keep on.
No, go. Yeah,
So
please.
Chi Cheng has got a new album that I want to promote because I love this. Buckle up for Chi. You can order this. Go to their website. It's a live poetry reading that Ming, his brother.
Yeah, I saw Ming on here. That was great.
Dude, Ming said he booked the show, but this album comes in black and yellow, and it's amazing because he's talking to the audience. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's on CD too. But
This is the one. This might be the one that I'm like standing with him. I remember
Oh,
kind of.
really?
Yeah, he did.
You're
one.
at the show?
He did one, and I was like, you know, band assistant, so I kind of helped. You know,
He did the poetry, the parachute something. I
want to say it was at Harlow's or something like that. I remember being there and being kind of involved.
Parachute, yes, yeah, bamboo parachute, yeah.
We loved. Chi was a great dude, man. You know,
Did you have I mean, he was so like. I remember when he came to Atlanta, he asked the security guard where the nearest bookstore was, and so
he'd always be up grabbing a paper in the morning, and he'd always be up before any of us. I mean, obviously before me, but but that's one thing about working with Deftones. They usually get up before me. That's not
really. Did you have nights?
But I stay up later than them. So
did you have times where I said nights? But did you have times where you and Chi would just talk about life?
Oh yeah, I mean, he was actually one of the most, because my life had just changed. Like crazy. Went from working in a warehouse to working for at the time one of the hottest bands around.
Yeah, man.
So it was it was huge, and we would sit in the back, the back lounge of the bus driving. And I remember he played. I forget what, I think it was Willie Nelson. You're Always on My mind. I played it, and I was like tears coming. I was
yes.
We had probably been drinking or whatever, but I just I just wanted to do everything and try to there's a line from have you ever seen Year Zero with Jack Black? Anyways,
yes, I have seen
that,
it. Yes,
that weird dude, that hairy weird dude. They just want to suck it all. And
yes. I thought, dude, that has been a minute since I've seen that. Yeah.
Just want to be it all, suck it all. You're trying to, you're just living too fast, But we slowed down eventually. But she was always just a sweet dude, man.
Yeah.
He was pretty genuine, for this type of lifestyle.
His family is so genuine too, and so just kind and loving, and I love what they're doing with Buckle Up for Chi. And it's an important thing. I remember taking Chi home from rehearsals. I'd always be like looking over at him. He didn't have his seatbelt on. He just so he never wore it.
He didn't wear it. And then it's unfortunate. Obviously, but that's just how he was.
So, and look, I got this fancy picture. I don't know if we can zoom on the camera, but this is proof that you actually know the band.
Yes.
So
but the great thing is this picture's been used, and I've been edited out many times. It's
great. Yeah?
Because I'm I'm on the end, yeah.
Did they do that for
real? I've seen a picture of this one before, and I was like, well, who's Steph's pointing at?
Why are they all pointing that way? I was pointing at you. Yeah, of course.
I'd like to think so. I think it was we were doing meet and greets, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to get a photo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so. That's all. I think that's all that was.
Yeah. So, where did this come from, man? I found this on Google, and I blew it up. I was like, Juan may not like this or appreciate this.
There's a friend in Amsterdam, Sly. I'm not going to murder his last name on camera, but cool dude, artist. He made that for me.
I thought it was great.
I've been to McDonald's on 6 continents, so.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't believe there is one in Antarctica. So
okay, McDonald's is so different. Like
it's disgusting, but
it's disgusting, right? But listen, I went to the one in God. Where did I go to? I went somewhere, maybe in Ireland or somewhere, and the ketchup was all vinegar. Everything was a little off. I was like, this is not.
I've had it. I mean, Japan's got the best. Got the best McDonald's.
I heard Japan's got the best, like the Big Mac sauce is legit for everything.
It looks like perfect when you get it too. It's not like half off or the onions. Everything's like laid perfectly.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm just being a little excited, but in Japan things are just different. They take pride in everything. Even something as simple as making your burger. That's great. I think that's awesome.
You need to get some like Japan roadies, man. Everything be like precise. Right?
Oh, it's great. When we do shows there, it's always great. It's like they'll have the rental gear or whatever you're using, and it's always pristine.
Does everybody like bounce a lot? Like I've always heard or not mosh, but kind of jump.
It's pretty quiet.
Is it?
When they'll applaud, and then the song ends, they'll applaud, and that's it. And it's pretty silent.
Wow.
There was one show. There, obviously knew the Americans were there because as soon as the show ended, it was just like you hear the clap and then you hear "fuck yeah, fuck yeah," and we're just all like, "She's not from Japan."
Oh, she's not.
It was an American, in the crowd.
There's one person in there.
Fuck yeah! We were just all sitting there going, "Who the hell is that?"
Who's that? Who's that person you're saying Chino and like the Irish, like Chino? Or you're telling me that earlier. Somebody yelling out the
in
door.
A southern accent.
Yeah. That'd be fun if you heard that through the Japan mix. So during this COVID thing, man, what did you do? Like with the band?
Oh man, well, we had done rehearsals to go to New Zealand. And we finished those. I went to Vegas for a little personal trip. Saw Bruno Mars. That was my last show. And wow. Carrot Top.
Carrot Top, dude.
Yeah, I'm worried about that guy. Man. I hope he's doing okay.
Really?
Not doing his shows all the time.
I know, man. He's probably in a gym somewhere, just killing it, dude. He's so ripped.
Yeah, he's funny as hell. Though. It was actually really funny.
I grew up watching him, dude.
Yeah. I did not. He just showed clips of everything he's done, and that dude's been on everything. I was like, everybody.
Did you get to meet him and hang out with him?
No, but we were sitting in back and it wasn't very full, so they moved us up front.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Or moved us closer, to fill in the area for him and stuff. But and we saw Bruno. That was great. Then everything came to a halt. It was already when I finished the Tool tour in February, the beginning of February, when we flew home. There was already the rumblings. They were already something's coming. You know what I mean? There was something weird going to happen. We could tell.
Yeah, you see it on the news.
Yeah, it was just then there's all the inside words. Everybody's saying, this is real. Whatever's happening in the other countries, was starting to get serious. So we kind of knew that something was going to happen. And then, they canceled our tour, and then, the band, all the bands that I've worked for have tried to help in some way, so it's
yeah, man.
cool.
They started some what is that band? They started some kind of like, what am I thinking? Some kind of funds for bands.
The Live Nation one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I got the first grant on that. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It was.
That's nice.
It was nice. It was something, for for a big corporation to kind of throw back something,
So when Deftones release Ohms and there's no touring, like
yeah, dude, that was like the weirdest time, man. I've never experienced that in my time with them, just releasing a record and being like, all right, well, I'm gonna go back to bed. It's like it was weird. I mean, I obviously I don't have any say in any of that or a word in any of that, but it just seemed weird.
Yeah, man. Hopefully,
when I saw Chino a few weeks ago and I was talking to him about it, it's like, you know what, I'm finally getting into listening to the record more. I was like, it was just weird, when it came out, it's just like, it wasn't the way it normally is. Normally we'd be somewhere, we'd be doing something.
The routine.
Yeah, but I get it. The record is good, and it's a good record, and I'm glad they put it out.
Dude, so hopefully when this COVID goes away, you can be back on the road. Hopefully with Deftones or someone else. Is there someone like you would love to work with on the road?
I wanted Slayer. I wanted
the last tour.
Yeah, I wanted to.
You were there, didn't you go to
I went to like 5 of the shows, dude. I was
and you
I
saw
had to.
Yeah.
I was probably the closest I come to crying at a show at the end on the last one.
Didn't you get the vibe like when they said it was their final show, it was their final show?
I did, actually.
Motley Crue came back.
Yeah,
all these people come back, but
I actually believed it, man, because it's just difficult to play that aggressive. I think when you're pushing 60, I would imagine. I mean, that's just my take on it, and why not go out on top? Which they were. With Gary Holt on guitar too. That was just really amazing.
Oh yeah.
So I was very lucky to see those shows, but I was sad to see them end, and then as soon as they finished, the whole world goes to shit.
I know, man. When you said Gary Holt, he was in Exodus, right?
Still is. Yep.
I know the drummer's going through some cancer or something like that.
Yes, I've read something about that. Yeah. I mean, Exodus is just. I mean, obviously they're not just a local legend. I mean, they're international, but to me, they're local. Like. I saw them in '85.
Did you?
Yeah. And,
how come they weren't a part of the Big Four? They had been Big Five.
They probably should have.
It's like the birth of that thrash.
Yeah, they really. I mean, they really. Because Bonded by Blood was just as huge to me as Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
And bands like Death Angel.
Yes.
Those are those are influenced. The Deftones guys. We all grew up loving.
And I have to say this since we're being on camera. Stefan loves Stryper.
He does.
Dude, I can't wait to tell him that, man.
Soldiers in Command or
Soldiers Under Command.
Yeah, he used to play that for me. And
I just love throwing these random facts. You're probably like, don't say that.
Oh, we don't get mad. Yeah.
Edit that part out.
Nah, I think he's okay with that. No, he's
like, Juan, I like Stryper. Never tell Scott that.
Whatever you do, don't tell.
do not. There's this one guy in Atlanta that loves Stryper. Yeah, they're out.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they're great dudes, man. I've enjoyed the time, and I hope to get back out there once.
Something says about them, like where they all stick together and they're on every album. Mais G. I mean, it's got to be a great vibe.
There is. I mean, they're still traveling on the same bus.
Yeah.
We've even traveled with the crew on the bus a couple of times too. So, they're pretty easygoing guys.
Okay, here's I didn't interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
Here's the last thing I'll say, and this is just random. I'm throwing it out there because I don't hear enough people talking about when Korn and Deftones were touring together back in the day. Did you hang out with them at that time with Korn and Deftones?
I didn't. I had lost touch pretty much from '95 till I ran into them again in '99.
Okay.
They were so busy, all was gone.
Because that whole scene right there.
And I was in my own thing too.
Were you?
Well, I was doing drugs and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't exactly out and about as much.
That old vibe, man, is so cool, man. But back early, I remember seeing them back in '96 at the point, and it was Deftones and Orange 9mm and Far, and they were all playing together. And Korn guys just showed up, and I'm like, "Hey, it's Korn, man. This is a scene right now. I miss those days, man.
Yeah, I missed all that, man. I wish I would have been around for that. It would have been cool, but
It's much cooler that you're friends with the band and you go on tour with them and do all this other stuff.
Yeah, either way, it worked out pretty well. I mean, those days were tough. I mean, my first tour, I was in a condo bunk,
Oh, yeah?
So most people start in a van or, something like that,
Yeah, you had it. You
I
had
had
a
it
bus.
pretty good.
And everything.
Yeah, I had it pretty good. I was definitely, that's why it took me a few years to really get a foot, in the business, because I was just like, I was too pampered, I was like, and the other road dogs didn't really dig that too
Really?
much.
It must be hard too if you start at that level, then you go down to
when you end up, I used to get that a lot from one of my tour managers on another tour. This ain't Deftones.
This ain't Deftones.
Be happy with your $10.
When you're with Deftones, you get like nice hotels and everything?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. It's always decent, accommodations. They take good care of their people, man.
That's awesome,
man.
man.
That's a fact,
But dude, I'll say it again, man. Thank you so much for back in the day, just helping like fans get connected.
Dude, I wish I could do more of that.
It was so
kind of
nice,
stuff,
man. Never forget that.
Eventually, you get a little hardened out here. You get a little less friendly. Certain points you can kind of go through a phase. I think. But thankfully, I'm back.
But I think
I'm back to being happy again. I was recently working with Marilyn Manson, and it was awesome, man. The dude is laid back, fun guy.
Is he a fun guy?
Yeah,
that's
dude.
Awesome.
I mean, I had a lot in common with him as far as like the music and age. Our age, we were almost the same age.
Yeah.
I did his VIPs for a year or so.
Wow.
And then eventually, through some things popping up, I became his personal assistant as well. So then I was doing that and doing his photos for the meet and greet. It was a good time, man. He treated me, he paid me well and he treated me well.
So you saw him, that's when John 5 was playing with him?
No, he was playing with Zombie though.
Oh, yeah, okay. So he's been on Zombie for a while now.
We were on tour with Zombie, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's good stuff, man. And I wish
what
him
about
well.
Twiggy? Was he?
He was on like two of the shows, and then Manson broke his leg, and the tour ended for a bit. But when we started back up, Twiggy was no longer with them.
Oh, really? What is up with artists breaking their legs? I mean, we got a line like Dave Grohl, Axl Rose.
He used the same throne, I think that.
They did the same chair, the throne, yeah.
That was awesome, actually. Though I think it really added to his creepiness up there. You know what I mean? When he's like sitting in this chair, just like levitating and then spinning in it. It's pretty funny, actually. I thought it was actually pretty cool, how he did it. But it was just difficult. He could get around. He was having trouble getting around and stuff.
I bet, man. It'd be cool to like if they auctioned off that chair, that throne. I mean, I'm sorry.
I think it was badass, man.
If they did, I'd put it right here.
Yeah. The guy puts on a great show too.
Night after night.
No matter what. Well, I mean, the performance, I'll leave that up to whoever sees the show to decide if you're into it. That's up to you. But he puts, the staging, the lights.
Yeah.
He goes all out. He doesn't skimp on any of that.
Man, he's been around for so long too. People forget. He's been around.
Yeah, I would have tried to avoid him forever. I tried to avoid him for the longest time, and then finally ended up working for him. But I mean, and he turned out to be a really cool dude to me.
Oh, that's good, man.
And I still can talk to him every now and then and make sure he's all right. And I think he is. So
that is so cool. You can just reach out to Marilyn Manson.
That was one of the funny things about 2018 and 19 is I became homies with Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, dude.
Right on.
Juan, man, thank you so much for being on Good Company, man.
Awesome.
I'd love to have you on more.
Yeah, dude.
Means the world, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.